rules. No rules. No taboo topics. No taboo topics. No fear of doom. No fear of doom. We are American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
And now back to Deadline Live with Jack Blood.
Thank you for joining us, folks. Jack Blood with you, AmericanFreedomRadio.com, Deadline Live. This is our 8th anniversary 9/11 tribute show. Thank you so much for joining us today. What a crazy day for all of us. It just hits you like a ton of bricks all of a sudden. Well, here's another anniversary. And it's easy to look back and say, well, we're not winning. We haven't won the war. But just like the American Revolution, we are winning battles, and we are increasing our numbers, and awareness is at a high point with events happening all over the world. So we're very pleased with all of the progress we've made, and without people like my last guest or any of the guests on our program, my next guest, I think a lot of that wouldn't have been possible. We're joined by Manny Badillo. He is a family member of a victim of 9/11. He's a member of We Are Change New York, and he's a representative for something called New York City Can. And some great breaking news, the city of New York has conceded the 9/11 coalition has more than the 30,000 valid signatures they need to push a referendum for 9/11 investigation on the November ballot. Manny, I'm so proud of you guys for pulling this off. Good work.
Jack, thank you so much. Long time no speak. I'm honored to be back on the show on a day that for my family is one of the most horrific days in our history. 8 years ago, I lost my uncle, though I have to say today wasn't the worst day. It was the days following when hope began to fade. But I have to say that, yes, we have made great strides in getting to the truth of what happened during that unsolved crime, that mass murder. We have made great strides in getting to the justice due our fallen and the accountability that all of us want. And here in New York City, for the past year, we've been collecting signatures. We've collected upwards of 80,000 signatures from New York City registered voters. We handed in initially 52,000 signatures for this petition to have on the November ballot, to have New York City voters say yes to a question for a new, non-political, impartial, subpoena-powered investigation. And when we handed in those 52,000 signatures 2 months ago, the city conveniently said that only half were valid, meaning 26,000 were valid. We only needed 30,000 to have this go in front of City Council. So for the past 2 weeks, I've been in the Board of Elections along with 50 other volunteers from all around the region, over 1,000 hours put in towards validating and verifying signatures. We validated over 7,000 signatures. We handed it into the city. We said, these are valid signatures, and guess what? Even before the city began to look at our work, the morning that we showed up at the Board of Elections to referee, the court-appointed referee, in validating our work, what happened is that they conceded. They said, you know what? You have more than enough signatures. Let's move on.
They sensed a major fight coming their way with about 80,000 people marching to City Hall if they couldn't get this done. But they really wanted to try to defeat this and hang you up in the courts.
Absolutely. And what we've done is we've handed in another 28,000 signatures 1 week ago, which overrides any decision by the City Council to immediately place this on November's ballot. So what we're doing is we're rallying the 80,000 signatories, we're rallying the hundreds of family members, first responders, and survivors together. By the end of this month, we look to have a march from Union Square to City Hall to let New Yorkers and the world know that we are standing for our constitutional rights by petitioning the government for a redress of grievances, by peaceably assembling and letting people know that we are going to get to the justice due our fallen and the accountability that we all expect from our government.
Manny, I think Thomas Jefferson just sat up in his tomb. He would have loved what you just said, man. And that's the thing. Okay, so let's just make this real clear for people. So this will be on the referendum. This will be on the ballot. Is it a yes or no vote? A yes vote is for?
This may be on the ballot. You have to understand, we're in a second phase now.
Okay.
We're in litigation in the New York City court system, okay? We're going to be setting up a schedule next week for exactly how the arguments are going to proceed. The city is fighting us on a number of different points on the legality of the petition. And just to tell you, the success of petitions here in New York hasn't been a good one. There's only been one petition that's been passed in the last quarter century here in the city, and that was for term limits back in the 1990s. Well, guess what? The city council just overturned that for Bloomberg to run for his third term. So the petition history here in New York City isn't so great, and there's a reason for that. When I was at the Board of Elections working to verify these signatures by matching the signatures on our petition with the signatures in the New York City database, I found out from the Board of Election workers that they were not allowed to look at the signatures when they were doing the initial verifications. They were only allowed to look at addresses. And I said, why is that? And they said, well, if you're not at the right address, then, you may not be registered. And addresses, and signatures change a lot. So they probably told us not to look at the signatures because signatures change. I go, addresses change more. I said, and on any legal contract, which this petition was, it's your signature that counts.
Yeah, so, selective enforcement of selected election laws to select politicians in the various
There you go. And you know what it comes down to? This is the Board of Elections. The rules seem not to work for the benefit of we the people. It seems to work for the benefit of the bureaucracy in power.
Well, not this time. I don't see how Bloomberg, or Doomberg as I call him, is going to buy his way out of this one.
You know what? The city does have a lot more unlimited resources, but we have the most unlimited, the infinite resource, and that's the truth, and that's passion, and that's the fact that we want to get back to what our founding fathers envisioned, and we need to, as citizens, need to stand up for our constitutional rights, our constitutional obligations. This is about as grassroots as it gets, Jack. This is one-on-one conversations. Are you a New York City registered voter? Would you like to sign a petition for a new and proper investigation?
Yeah, and I'm sure you could have gotten a lot more signatures had you needed them, and I think you're going to have the votes. So hypothetically, this gets on the ballot. What is it, a yes for a new investigation or a no, and who runs that investigation? Who oversees it?
Well, it's all written up in the petition. If you go to nyccan.org, you'll be able to actually download the petition, read the fine points of the petition. It would come down to a yes or no vote for a subpoena-powered, privately funded, impartial, non-political investigation into the events of September 11, 2001. Now, 100% of the questions posed to whatever commission is set up will be answered. Unlike the original public inquiry, the sham, the omission commission from 5 years ago, where only 30% of family members' questions were answered. That's outrageous. That screams injustice. So we have a great chance right now to get this petition on the ballot. The commissioners would be voted on by family members, first responders, survivors. We will be privately funded, so we don't have that government influence. And really, it's just a great success already. This is precedent setting. We're setting a course for every other municipality in this country that lost someone to petition their local government.
On the place where the scene of the crime took place in New York City, where they have jurisdiction. And, Manny, the most important thing you said there, subpoena power. I mean, that's what's going to get the job done. All of that on the record, none of it classified, none of it redacted, just out in the open for everyone to see.